Welcome back to Jam's Lego Studio, or Brickspiration, depending on when I change the channel name. And today I have a tank that I've designed to fit within the Voyage's Keep, my 7-foot-long giant spaceship. And I designed it to fit in the ramp so that I can drive up and down. However, there's a few issues with this design, including the weight of this design, as well as not having quite enough power to be able to drive up the angle of the ramp. So, unfortunately, this tank will not work within the Voyage's Keep. However, aesthetically, the size of this will fit. So it will look pretty good just sitting in the ramp when it's open, and at the bottom of the ramp is touching the table. That will work, but otherwise it will not. So perhaps some improvements to the ramp system will make it function, but given that I've already rebuilt the Voyage's Keep once, I will likely not redesign that again, as it was a pain to end up rebuilding the whole thing. So here we have a tank that I have made function using the new-ish EV3 system. And inside of it, I have an intelligent brick, obviously. I have 2 of the large motors, as well as a touch sensor in the bottom, which I can tilt this thing so you can see maybe a little bit of it. Underneath, you can see those yellow plates there. That's what will bump the touch sensor. I'll get more what that is for later on in the video. And for the lights, which I'll show in a separate segment, but on the side here, I have a very cool feature, which this door here will open up. It's kind of simulating a shield to protect the turret, and I can slide the turret out, turn it, and obviously raise the blasters to cover the side flank of the tank. And I have 2 LED lights that will shine through these translate blue radar dishes on the sides. That's that feature. And then in the front, for the lights, the cockpit will have 3 of them to light up this big I guess I'm gonna say cockpit piece, which on the inside features the pilot, which he doesn't want to turn, but he has there. And then he has his own little control panel using some printed tiles, using one from the Ninjago Mech Dragon from the Nindroid series, as well as some of these control panels I believe first came out in the Galaxy Squad ones. Lies then behind the swiveling chair that moves up and down and spins. We'll just have like a little bit of a weapons storage, and then the back wall. So that's the cockpit. And now another feature that we have is these big little concussion turrets I have in the front. So I'm using the 6 stud shooters as the tips of it, and using the black studs. Now unfortunately these don't function because the way I have them locked in using an older piece here, it's an axle insert and I can't turn the stud shooter to actually blast them. But the turret does raise, and it will angle very significantly off to the side, which gets to the wide firing arc, as well as it can get pretty close to the nose of the tank, so it's very functional and aesthetically pleasing there. And then as we get to the back here on this tower, I have obviously the big turbo laser, which I really like how I was able to get the shape on this just right, as well as these barrels look really cool with these clip and bar pieces here covering the trans light blue 2x2 dome piece. This really looks like the barrel screws are very well detailed, and then obviously simulating the blast coming out of the turbo laser with those domes. Then on the top we have some of the greebling. Way I was able to get some of this curvatures using these hinge pieces connected with snot pieces around some curves on the inside for the structure. And then the way I was able to do the barrels is I simply used like a pin insert on these using the 4x4 round bricks with the Technic axle insert and the 4 open technicals on the sides. Then I was able to get the detail from there. So I'll put this back on now. A little bit hard with one hand. There we go. So we got that back on. As you can see, this turns all the way around and can elevate up to a decent angle to cover against any airships that want to battle the tank. And if we take the turbo laser off, you can see it attaches and comes off very easily, but yet it's very stable when you're playing with it. In the tower, I just have some more greebling. See, look like all the power connections are there to power the turbo laser. And then I have some more greebling details around it for like fuel or air tubes to keep the men in space safe from all the elements. Some more of the greebling there. And I really like how I was able to then transition into the sides with these angles with overlaying wedge plates at different heights to get the different texture and layered effect. So now we're going to move on to accessing the EV3 components on the inside, and then we'll go into the lighting. So the way I access this is the tower will just come off, and I've used 4 axles to connect onto the inside. That just comes off as a separate piece. And then the middle of this, after moving these flaps out, which also serve as extra storage compartments for like minifigure accessories, or even if you wanted to put a minifigure in there, you easily could. As well as for the lights, because they're powered off of a 9-volt battery, it conveniently perfectly fits on the inside of this compartment. So that it's always in the model when you need it, and this panel can just simply come off like that, and you can take the 9-volt battery just straight out. Then the panel is pretty easy to get back on. And also, while these are folded out, it's very, very easy to pop the middle piece of this off. After this is raised up, which you can see some of the LED wiring and where the 9-volt battery will connect later. This middle section comes out and is attached. This was some bricks extending down to where these Technic bricks are. that the EV3 is anchored to. As well as you can see the touch sensor plug and then the two motor plugs for the large motors. And the way you can get this out, but I'm not going to take it out right now because I'm going to demonstrate the driving function of this in a moment, is if you just unplug the cables here, and under a couple more flaps there's these pins. They lock in and hold through that Technic beam, and after undoing all four of them, equivalent on the opposite side, this will separate out so that you can reprogram it as well as change its batteries, and then you can put it back in. The 9-volt battery connection. I'll briefly show off the lights in the day, which they do still shine pretty bright. Which now you can see very clearly, like it simulates like a shield on the sides, protecting these smaller turbo lasers. And then in the front, you can see the LEDs being able to shine on this windshield piece very decently, not being overly bright, but it gives it just the right amount of light. So now I'll transition into getting this thing driving. This is just a quick look at the bottom of this, and you can see that I have two EV3 large motors in here, and the touch sensor is hidden above this, which is going to be a sneak peek for a future MOC coming together. I'm planning on in a couple of years it'll be finished, and there'll be more details on that within a few videos ahead. But this is basically so it can interact with the layout. And that's the only hint I'm going to give. Otherwise, you can see these motors are powered under this gearing system using the 40-tooth gears and the 12-tooth gears. And there is a very interesting technique I'm not going to share in this video that you'll be able to see in the instructions, and how I have actually assembled these motors together, and how I was able to actually get this gearing to actually work. But with that, I'll send you to the end of the video. So that was a demonstration of driving it. And for the instructions, they are going to be coming soon. However, in those instructions, the flex tool doesn't exist yet in Bricklink Studio, so the rubber treads that it uses to actually drive won't actually be like put in the right position in the instructions, but they are included in the parts list, and they are mentioned when you should insert them. As for a parts count, this is roughly 4,000, and it uses Mostly elements you can get easily, and there's a couple ones that'll be a bit more difficult. It'll be hard to tell in this scene here, but this wedge plate here is one of the older ones, where it has a sharp angle and there's no stud notch on the inside of it there. So I think that is the only part that I use that's not going to be as easily accessible, but you should be able to find plenty of those still on Bricklink. And if you like this build, please like, comment, and subscribe for more brick spiring Lego MOCs. And with that, I'll see you next time.